Right, so, uh, first of all, I apologise about the throat situation. Um, on the tail end of a cold, you guys know how it is, it's winter months. I always seem to get a cold or something around this time. I apologise about the lighting situation as well, not much natural light today. But I wanted to do a video just to round out the year. I'm going to do my film, the first part of my Mistborn video next, but I wanted to do a video rounding out the year, talking about some of my favourite things that came out this year, uh, in the world of games, in the world of movies. I already did a video talking about all the comics that I read this year and all the ones that and giving my rankings on those. What I thought was good, what I thought was not as good in the world of comics. I will say that comics as a whole has been really good this year, just solidly a good time. Um, being a comic book, being a comic book fan, it's been a pretty good. I've been eating well when it comes to stuff like Hulk, when it comes to stuff like the Ultimate Universe. All of those Ultimate Universe books have been really good. Um, but yeah, that's kind of that in a nutshell. Comics have been just a good time. Superman has been really good, and we get to fully catch up with it, but it's been really good for what it has been. For as far as I've gotten into it, uh, just reading more as a like novels and stuff. I did finish the. I got through the entirety of the Witcher series. As you guys know, I've been doing videos on it. That's been probably my biggest achievement. Where I sit on the series as a whole, looking back on it, especially since now I'm getting into Mistborn and Sanderson's voice for fantasy and his the way that book is structured. I'm getting a lot more out of that one book than I think I did get through the entire Witcher series. I think it's a series that is more about the characters than the journey they go on, and I'll talk more about how I feel about Mistborn when I do my video on it. Uh, but my overall opinion on Mistborn is, or so far, at least about halfway through, just over halfway through, uh, I think it's very good. I highly recommend if you're a fantasy fan, or even if you're like a fan of like if you want to see a more like fantasy setting, like Mission Impossible almost kind of story, then I'd say Mistborn is the way to go. Obviously, I'm only halfway. I don't know how the book turns in the second half, um, but yeah, I would definitely say it's like more of a fantasy action based like Mission Impossible ish with some like X-Men slash Inhuman stuff going in as well. So if that sounds interesting to you, obviously I'm going to do a whole video on that book uh, later on, and the Mistborn trilogy as a whole. I'll have videos going up like I did The Witcher uh, throughout probably 2025. That's going to be probably my big like first half of 2025 reading thing. Also have all of the Stormlight Archive as well. Yet to even start that. Again, I'm going through those after I've gone through Mistborn. Um, Slightly annoying that I did get the final book as like a big hardback. I'm not complaining, obviously, but like that book is gonna be a pain to actually read, and it's like it that could kill a badger like that. It's a weapon, that book. But anyways, that's kind of my big takeaway from this year is just reading more books. Like comic books are great, but like as a dyslexic, I want to kind of just get better at reading in general and just start reading books more regularly and just get into that. And I've really enjoyed getting into reading in that way. And it's something that I should have done way earlier. Like, I should have gotten into a fantasy series or gotten into a book series a lot earlier in my life, and I probably would be a better person for it. But I think now, at the end of this year, I think I'm a more well-rounded like content creator, and I think I have more like critical thinking when it comes to whether I like something, whether I don't like something, because of reading The Witcher, what I got out of just reading a series like from beginning to end. I think that kind of changed my outlook on how I think about when I review video games, when I talk about movies, when I talk about comic books as well. It completely changes the way I think about the rest of the stuff that I make content on. As for games, I got through Astrobot this year. Was excellent. Do I think it should have been Game of the Year? I think if you think that Astrobot is your Game of the Year, you're 100% valid to think that. It's an excellent game. Me personally, I think if I played more of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, if I gave that game more time this year, which I just didn't have, so one of my big things next year when I get my new capture card is I'm going to go through Final Fantasy 16, go through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That's probably more of a priority to me than starting anything new or getting any new games. So like Dragon Age the Vanguard, I wanted to say Inquisition, that was the previous game. That's lower down on my must playlist, especially because I've heard mixed things about it. Going back and getting the opportunity to stream the whole of Sly Cooper 1. I'm gonna get through the rest of the series. I loved that first game immensely. Some of it's a bit floaty and it hasn't really aged the best, but I do think that the characters are great, and I think the core like gameplay and the whole like stealth platformer stuff I really like, and I want to see how it evolves throughout the series. So yeah, I'm glad that the rest of the series is on PlayStation 5 now, so I can check it out, because I never was able to when I had a PS2. Sonic Generations, Sonic Generations X Shadow, or Sonic X Shadow Generations. I've only done the Sonic stuff. I haven't touched Shadow yet. Yeah. But yeah, I really liked that as well. Again, a little bit floaty for my liking. Maybe I'm just not the biggest Sonic guy. I'm not the most used to how those games play. And, my favorite Sonic game is Unleashed. So, take that for what it is. And that's only because I really like the Werehog stages, because I really like beat 'em up character action games, and that is basically Baby's first character action game. Speaking of character action games I played this year, I finally got through, if you can call it character action game, Gotham Knights. I had fun with it, but I don't think I'm gonna play. I'm in no rush to play it again. I'm making my way through Hi-Fi Rush. That's an excellent game. Rhythm stuff has always kind of tripped me up, and that game it's a challenge for me, getting that rhythmic side down. But I'm enjoying the art style, I'm enjoying the gameplay, and I like how unique it feels, and the fact that that was a Xbox exclusive at some point. I don't know how Xbox looked at that game and was like, this is what we want our exclusive to be. It has PlayStation written all over it. It has like PS3, Xbox 360 written all over it, because it is that kind of like character action game that would have come out back then, and it just feels like a fresh revitalization of that kind of game, and I really want that kind of game to continue. Maybe take some of the rhythm stuff out of it, but I love the art style. I love the character and the pizzazz that game has, and the presentation of it. Um, but yeah, I did get through about half of Prince of Persia. I just I love the game. I love the art style, but something about the gameplay, something about the whole Metroidvania stuff just didn't click with me in the biggest way. Um, but yeah, I appreciate everything that game is putting down. Certainly the best Ubisoft game that came out this year, and it writes Skull and Bones. The one thing I have played a little bit of Marvel Rivals. I have no intention to make content on it. I might stream it a couple of times, but I'm not great at games like that. I haven't been great at my couple of runs that I've done of Marvel Rivals. Maybe I need to give it a bit more time to really let it click with me. But I love the presentation of the game. I think a lot of effort went into it, and I can't believe that the game's free when there's a lot of games coming out that are charging premium price that have less stuff in them, that has like less presentation value than Marvel Rivals has, and the fact that game is free is bonkers. I think everyone should at least give it a shot, just because of the amount of attention to detail there is in the game. Even if you're not the biggest Overwatch guy, you're not the biggest Valorant person, because I know I'm not, and I appreciate the amount of effort that went into Marvel Rivals, and you're not losing any money, going into it either. I'm trying to think or remember what games I actually played this year, and I think that might be it. I think I finished Streets of Rage 4 as part of my backlogathon. That game is, it's a beat 'em up. There's not much. I like the presentation of it, but it's a beat 'em up. I think I still prefer Shredder's Revenge. That's probably my beat 'em up of choice. There is more DLC for that game as well that came out that I haven't checked out yet, but I probably will. The Castlevania DLC for Vampire Survivors was pretty great. Even if some of the characters were a bit repetitive, just having so many new characters and so many new weapons put into the game. I haven't even seen everything that's new for the game yet. I think that's it for the gaming side. Movies, obviously, I had the misfortune of seeing Madam Web in the cinema. I think it's a terrible movie. No one should watch it. I don't even think you should subject someone you hate to that movie. It's good for a laugh, but I don't think anything past that. It doesn't make any sense. There's lip syncing issues. I think it's a fundamentally flawed film, and I hope we never get, even with the tease of Null at the end of Venom 3, which I will talk about later as well, because I didn't make a video on Madam Web, I didn't make a video on Craven, I didn't make a video on Venom. I don't think I even made a video on Deadpool Wolverine. Deadpool Wolverine was the best movie of the year, by far, that I saw anyway. Best movie of the year that I saw. I still haven't seen Transformers 1. I've heard it's very good. But yeah, the best movie that I saw this year in cinemas was Deadpool Wolverine. So good. So much fan stuff in it. And just the core story, and seeing Deadpool and Wolverine interact and seeing their banter and their character interactions, so good. So yeah, Madam Web, terrible. I cannot recommend that movie to anyone unless you're gonna be drunk at a party and just want to roast a film with your mates. That's pretty much all that film's good for. Venom 3 is slightly better, only slightly. It's still terrible with a tease of null. I hope that never gets paid off. I hope that the Sony Spider-Man movies, the Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies, are like dead in the water. Just give the rights back to Marvel at this point and give us like a proper like Spider-Man versus Craven movie set in New York, or like set in like a jungle somewhere. Where like Spider-Man, just give us like Spider-Man's Last Hunt. I think there have been enough Spider-Man movies in the MCU, especially now that he's like not really got a supporting cast. I think you can probably do, or probably get away with, Spider-Man's Last Hunt, because most of his supporting cast isn't in that anyway. Either do Spider-Man's Last Hunt or Spider-Man Coming Home. I know the first movie was called Homecoming, and it's confusing, but Spider-Man Coming Home, essentially none of the supporting cast, there's no Mary Jane in that. There is Aunt May, and the ending is kind of like what they did at the end of Homecoming, but I think that's probably the best way to do a new Spider-Man movie without having the supporting cast or needing to introduce anyone new either. Apart from obviously Morlan, who's going to be the big bad of the movie. I think he probably should have been used in the Spider-Verse movies. But, you know, beggars can't be choosers, and I actually enjoyed the second Spider-Verse movie more than the first one. I apologise again that my voice is cracking so much again. Cold. Can't do much about it. What else did I see this year? Oh yeah, I saw Godzilla X Kong. That was alright. It was a Godzilla and Kong movie. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I thought was... I don't remember a thing about that movie, honestly. I remember Kumail Nanjiani's in it, and he gets superpowers, and that always felt weird to me. I know it's a universe where ghosts exist, so why can't that be superheroes as well? But it's like, it feels like he was a character that was shoehorned in because it was being written when Marvel movies were more well received than they are now. Also, Kraven the Hunter. It's probably my favourite of the Sony Spider-Man-less Spider-Man movies. It's not good in any way, but I think it's the most fun. And, you know, I mean, I love Aaron Taylor-Johnson anyway. I think he was pretty good in The Fall Guy that came out earlier in the year. I thought that was a pretty good movie. But the thing about Kraven is it's terrible, and it knows it's terrible. I think the Rhino is the best part of that movie, and probably the best part of the Spider-Man movies, and I would take a Rhino movie with that guy in it over Madam Web any day. Heck, even over Morbius any day. But yeah, I enjoyed Kraven, but I don't... I enjoy it the same way that I enjoy, like, Batman and Robin, and the same way that I enjoy, like, the Fant Four Stick movie. I enjoy, like, seeing everything that's wrong with it, and Ariana DeBose is terrible. How does she have an Academy Award? I don't even know. Yeah, that's about and then obviously Deadpool Wolverine is amazing. I did see the Bob Marley movie in cinemas this year. I thought it was alright, but you know, those movies never seem to hit me. I went there with my mum. My mum wanted to watch it, so I mean, I liked it for what it is, for what it was, but you know, those movies never really do much for me anyway. What else? What else did I watch in cinemas this year? I think that might have been... I think that might have been everything. I think that might have been everything. But yeah, yeah. 2024 has been pretty good year overall. It's been a good year for the channel. We finally crossed out of the 1060s mark, which is great. Hopefully onwards and upwards. Hopefully we can hit. I would love to cross 2,000 by the end of next year. I know that's a big ask, but I think it's possible. You know, streams are doing pretty well, and you know, with the new capture card, hopefully we can upgrade the quality of videos. I've got a new phone now. I'm, you know, filming on a much better phone than I was. You know, I've got tons of ideas for like games that I want to stream and videos that I want to do, and hopefully I'll start doing more like on location videos as well. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Daniel Green, and I think the way that he does videos, I want to kind of not ape off what he does, but I want to kind of, because I've already done it with like splitting the like book ramble videos in half anyway, but I want to kind of, that's kind of where I want to go when it comes to the kind of content that I make. And I know it's like very different, but that's kind of how I want my content to kind of, in like the presentation point of view, that's kind of where I want my to take the channel with like how I make videos. But that's about it. I do also want to get more like just energy in general into the channel, which is difficult with the voice like this at the moment. But you know, we'll figure stuff out, I guess. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite things of the year have been. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.